So this is our Yamaha Blaster. There's billions of these out there, and with so many being out there, they're easy to come across parts. There's tons of mods for them, and people are doing all kinds of crazy stuff. They're using their life savings to get these set up how they want them. But we're going to be a little more practical, and we're doing some bolt-on mods that can unleash the power of this machine. So let's jump right into it, and we're going to start with our engine and performance modifications. So these two-stroke motors, they're zippy, the machine is lightweight. This thing's making over 17 horsepower, and you're about 8.9 foot-pounds of torque stock. So if you're not impressed already, we're gonna try to unleash the true potential of this thing. Now the motor, it's kind of like an air pump, or it is an air pump, and the more efficiently you can move air and fuel through that, the more power you're gonna make. So before we can do that, we need to make sure the engine is in good condition, and we bought this with a worn out top end. So for under $100, we got a top end kit from QA Parts. We slapped that on. It's only a few bolts. They're really simple. You know, with this thing not even being liquid cooled, it is very simple to do. Almost anyone can do it. But we also freshened up the bottom end since we were in there, just to make sure we knew what we were dealing with. And we also put a clutch in there at the same time. So with that being said, the first thing we did to it, and my favorite mod on this, is the FMF pipe. We did the Gold Series Fatty Moto pipe. That's gonna add bottom and mid-range power without taking anything from the top. And then we did the PowerCore 2 silencer, and that's gonna help again with the bottom and mid-range. Now, if you put a pipe on this, like we said, the motor is an air pump, and you wanna get as much flow going through as possible. So at a minimum, you want to take that intake tube off your airbox, but we ended up removing the lid, and then we also added some Boyson dual stage reeds on there. So they have a carbon fiber reed and then a fiberglass reed as well, and it's just going to help broaden the power band because the different thicknesses in the reeds, you know, one's going to work better at low RPM, one better at higher RPM. And then we also added the Pro Designs reed spacer. So that's actually going after the reeds, in between the reed cage and your carburetor, and you're just lengthening the intake tract, and that helps again broaden the power band because that's going to help with your top end power, and it's not taking away from the bottom. So everything we did is just to help broaden that power band. We're getting better flow through the motor, and with that being said, you know, more air flowing through means you're going to have more fuel flowing through as well. So we went ahead and rejetted this until we had that golden brown color on our spark plug. So if you do this stuff, you're going to want to make sure you do that because your jetting is one of the most important things you can do to keep this thing reliable, because you can blow up your motor if you're too lean. So be aware of that. But those are the main engine mods that we did with this. So from here, let's go ahead and take a look at some of the other items. Now, starting in the back, we've added a Ricochet swing arm, sprocket, and rotor guard. Now, that's a common place for rocks and debris to come up and hit and damage things. So you definitely want to have something in the back. We also added the Ricochet full body skid plate underneath. That's going to protect the frame and your engine cases. And then in the front, we have the Tusk front bumper. So not only are you getting protection up there, but if you ever need to move the front of the machine around, you can simply grab onto that and pick it up and move it where you need it. Now, besides having guards on your machine, there's other types of protection. So if you're at the sand dunes, you're going to want to have one of these PC Racing filter skins over your air filter. That's going to keep the fine particles out and keep the sand from destroying your engine that you just fixed up. And we also installed the outerwears shock wears on the front and rear shocks. That's going to protect your seals and the shafts from damage, especially, like we mentioned, the sand that gets everywhere, and you don't want those seals to blow. Now, it's not a sport quad until you have Nerf bars on there. These are the Tusk Comp Series Nerf bars. They come in multiple colors. And the reason you want these is for your own protection. So if your foot slides off that foot peg or slips off of it, this is going to keep your foot from hitting the ground. And people that are racing ATVs, even though we're not racing ours, this is going to keep other people's wheels from in between yours. So that's why it's a requirement for racing. But just for us, it's to protect ourselves and keep our foot on the pegs. Now, moving up to the handlebars, we've got the Motion Pro twist throttle kit on here that eliminates tours. And what tours does, it detects if you have a stuck throttle, but the problem is sometimes they malfunction and it cuts spark when you don't want it to. So if you want to eliminate that, this twist throttle kit is a great way to go, or you can get a thumb throttle kit as well. Now, when you're gripping and twisting and you want to see how fast you're going, we have a Trail Tech Endurance 2 on here. It tells you your miles per hour. It also tracks your maintenance intervals and how far you've gone. So that's a really cool thing we've added to this. We also added a tusk tether, and that way if we ever get separated from our machine, it's going to shut it down. And on top of all that, we've added these tusk bars. They're black, they look better, and they're tougher than the stock ones. Now, once we got everything working how we wanted it, we wanted to make sure this thing looked good as well. Now, the plastics looked pretty good when we got them, but what we did is take any major scratches out, and I used the PC Racing Plastic Renew on this. And you know, it's really simple to do. I just put a few coats on, but if you want to make it look perfect and get every single little scratch out, you can totally do that. But you can see this thing looks great, and I didn't spend a lot of time doing it. So that's something that's really simple to use. Now, other than that, we replaced the seat cover. This one's from Attack Graphics. It's a gripper seat. Now that we were making all that horsepower, we need something to keep us in place. So that's what we went with. It looks better than the stock one as well. And to complement everything, we went with Douglas wheels. These are the 0.190s. And we also spaced them out. We wanted more stance on our machine. So we have the Tusk wheel spacers. They're 30 millimeters wide on each side. And they're gonna add a little bit of stability. And you know, they look better. The wider stance looks better. So on the back, we also went with the adjustable width racing axle. You can get it as wide as you want, or you know, if you want to run the minimal spacers, you can do that as well. On top of all that, we kind of went through and just freshened everything up. So we replaced any worn out bearings, and we replaced our chain and sprockets because those were toast. So with that, we went with the primary drive chain and sprocket kit, and it's got that gold X-ring chain on there. It looks really good. So that is our Yamaha Blaster build. We're gonna go rip this thing right now for you guys, and again, let us know what you think about the build. If you need any of the parts, you can find those by clicking the link in the description below. They're all available on our website. And if you want to see more helpful content like this or any how-to videos, we have tons of how-to videos on this. You're going to want to subscribe to our channel. I'm Charles with Rocky Mountain ATV MC. Thanks for watching.